Friends. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, there once was a young girl named Amara who was known throughout the land for her exceptional beauty, intelligence and quick wit. Her laughter echoed through the cobblestone streets like the tinkling of bells, and her smile could light up the face of a gloomy day. Everyone in the village adored her. The elders praised her intelligence. The children loved her playful spirit, and the young men admired her graceful beauty. But while Amara basked in the warmth of all this attention, something within her began to stir, a tiny seed of pride that grew with each passing day. She loved the sound of her own voice, the compliments showered upon her, and the feeling of being the center of attention. It wasn't that Amara was a bad person. In fact, she had a heart of gold and a deep sense of empathy for others. However, as the years went by, her pride grew so immense that it overshadowed the kindness in her heart. She would walk through the market, barely acknowledging the greetings of the people she had once warmly engaged with. During festivals, instead of joining in the merriment, she would sit on a nearby rooftop, enjoying the celebration from afar, believing herself to be above such festivities. One day, an old beggar woman approached Amara, hoping to receive some food or money. But Amara, lost in her own world, didn't even notice the woman. She continued walking until the beggar called out to her, "Amara, child, can you spare a piece of bread for an old, hungry woman?" Amara paused, her eyes filled with disdain. She turned to the beggar and said, "Can't you see I'm busy? Find someone else to bother." The beggar, hurt by Amara's harsh words, slowly walked away, tears welling up in her eyes. As Amara walked away, unaware of the pain she had caused, children playing in the street stopped their game and watched her pass. They knew better than to get in her way or question her actions. Instead, they followed her, eager to catch another glimpse of the extraordinary girl they were forbidden to play with. "Oh, Amara, how we wish you would play with us," they cried out. But Amara only waved them away dismissively. "You are just a bunch of noisy children. Can't you see I'm not interested?" One evening, a wise old traveler came to the village. He had heard tales of Amara's intelligence and beauty and was eager to meet her. He walked through the town, observing everything around him, his eyes sharp and curious. As he strolled along, he noticed the villagers whispering and pointing towards a house at the end of the street. "That must be where she lives," he thought to himself with a knowing smile. He had already seen enough to understand Amara's character. The traveller then approached Amara's house and knocked on the door. Amara opened it and, upon seeing a stranger, asked, "Can I help you?" The traveller looked at her for a moment, his gaze intense yet kind. "I have heard many stories about you, Amara. They say you are the smartest girl in the village, that your beauty is unmatched, and that your spirit is as bright as the morning sun." Amara, flattered by the traveller's compliments, smiled proudly. "It's true. People often tell me these things. I don't know why you have come to our village, good sir, but if there's anything I can do for you, just ask." The traveller fixed his eyes on Amara and said, "Child, the greatest among us is not the one who is praised, but the one who serves." Amara, taken aback by his unexpected answer, couldn't understand what he meant. "What do you mean, good sir? I thought you had come to pay me compliments, not to insult me." The traveller, realizing that Amara's pride had blinded her, sighed and said, "I came here hoping to find wisdom in your eyes, but instead I see only arrogance. You may think you are great because people praise you, but true greatness comes from within. It is not about being the best, but about serving others." Amara, offended by the traveller's words, slammed the door in his face. "How dare he talk to me like that?" she thought angrily. From that day on, Amara continued to behave in the same manner, believing herself to be superior to everyone in the village. She thought that her beauty and intelligence made her better than everyone else and that they should praise her and cater to her every need. However, she did not realize that her attitude was causing people to distance themselves from her. The villagers, who had once adored her, now avoided her, not wanting to be on the receiving end of her sharp words or dismissive attitude. A few days after the traveller's visit, a terrible drought struck the village. Crops withered and died. The river dried up and the land cracked under the scorching sun. People became desperate for water and food. Amara, too, suffered during the drought. She lost her prized possessions and the villagers no longer praised or admired her. They were too busy trying to survive to pay any attention to her. One day, Amara was walking through the deserted market when she saw a group of children trying to collect a few dry twigs. "Why aren't you kids at home?" she asked, her voice filled with disdain. "We are looking for wood to cook our meals," one of the children replied. "Our families haven't eaten in days, and we need to keep warm." Amara, touched by the child's words, realized that she hadn't seen any families cooking or eating since the drought began. She suddenly felt a pang of guilt and shame. As she continued walking, she came across an old woman struggling to carry a heavy pot. "Can you help me with this, child?" the woman asked. Amara hesitated for a moment, but then, remembering the traveller's words, she stepped forward and said, "Of course." With Amara's help, the woman carried the pot to a small hut where a few people were gathered. "Thank you, Amara," the woman said. "You have no idea how much this means to us. We haven't had a hot meal in so long." Over the next few days, Amara began helping the villagers in any way she could. She shared her last loaf of bread with the hungry, fetched water for the sick, and comforted children who had lost hope. She listened to their stories, offering words of encouragement and reminding them that things would get better. The villagers, surprised by hesitant, but as they saw how genuinely kind and helpful she was, they slowly opened up to her. One afternoon, Amara was walking through the village when she saw a group of women collecting herbs. "Can I help you?" she asked. The women looked up and smiled. "We're gathering herbs to help a sick child. Would you like to join us, Amara?" Amara, touched by their kindness, agreed. "I would like that very much." As the days turned into weeks, the drought continued, but the villagers' spirits lifted. They had found strength in unity, helping each other and sharing what little they had. They told stories, sang songs, and prayed for rain, their voices echoing through the dry and dusty streets. And as they shared their stories, they spoke of Amara, the girl who had gone from being the most admired to the most helpful, always ready with a smile and a word of kindness. One evening, as the sky blazed with hues of orange and purple, a fat raindrop fell from the clouds, followed by another and another. Soon, the heavens opened up and a torrent of water poured down on the parched earth. The villagers, overjoyed, danced and sang, thanking the heavens for the life-giving rain. The drought had finally ended. In the midst of the celebration, Amara saw a familiar figure standing by the river, watching the water flow. It was the wise traveller. He had returned just in time to witness the end of the drought and the transformation of Amara. As the rain poured down, the traveller approached Amara and said, "You understand now, child, why I told you that the greatest among us is not the one who is praised, but the one who serves." Amara, bowing her head in respect, replied, "Yes, wise traveller. I understand now. My pride and arrogance led me to believe that I was better than others. But it was only when I helped my people that I truly felt the meaning of greatness. I am not the greatest because I am beautiful or intelligent, but because I have a heart full of kindness and a willingness to serve." The traveller, pleased with Amara's response, smiled and said, "You have learned a valuable lesson, child. Humility does not make you small. It makes you truly great. True greatness is born from humility. When we bow low to serve others, we rise higher than we ever could with pride." And so, from that day forward, Amara was no longer known for her beauty or her wit, but for her gentle heart and her unwavering commitment to serving others. The villagers loved her, not because she was perfect, but because she was humble, kind, and always ready to lend a helping hand. The tale of Amara reminds us that true beauty lies not in our appearance, but in our character, and that true greatness is not about being praised, but about serving others.